Hey guys, let's talk about Wednesday's reading assignment. It was titled The Camping Trip. So, yesterday I told you that if we're able to read through questions first, it's really always a good idea to read our questions before we start reading our passage. It helps us as readers to have a purpose for reading. We know what we're reading for, we know what we're looking for. And if we find that, then we can go ahead and we can make notes on our text. We can highlight in our text. We can number things in our text as we read, and that will help us out in answering our questions later when we go back to them. So let's go ahead and go read our questions first, and then we're going to read the camping trip. All right, so question number 1. The passage begins at A, the campsite, B, in the car, C, at Luca's house, or D, none of the above. None of the above means that all of the answer choices, A through C, are wrong, and that there's a different correct answer choice. Number 2, the passage ends A, in the car, B, in a mythical land, C, in the woods, or D, in a tent. Number 3, Mr. Torres seems to A, be a good father, B, love adventure, C, enjoy nature, or D, all of the above. That would mean that A, B, and C are correct. Number 4, the passage is A, science fiction, B, realistic fiction, C, historical fiction, or D, a tall tale. And number 5, the author writes, Lucas got out of the car, confused. Describe the setting that made Lucas confused. All right, let's go ahead and read the passage together. We're going to go up to the passage, the camping trip. And Mrs. Wheeler's going to zoom in so it's not so hard for me to see. Awesome. The camping trip. Lucas stared at the TV screen. He was playing his favorite video game. He steered a race car with his controls. The car zoomed along a mountain road. It was very hot outside, but the air conditioner in Lucas's room kept it nice and cool. The microwave oven in the kitchen beeped. Lucas paused his game. He ran and got a pocket pizza out of the oven. Then he took it back to his room. He munched as he played the game. Lucas, come on, it's time to leave, his dad called out. Okay, Lucas called back. He walked outside, where his dad had the car packed for a camping trip. This is going to be a great trip, said Mr. Torres. Just you, me, and the stars. Sure, Lucas said, but he wasn't exactly paying attention. He climbed into the car, then he turned on his portable video game. Lucas played the game while his father drove. 2 hours later, his father stopped the car. Here we are, son, he said. Lucas looked out of the car. They were in the middle of the woods. The car was parked in a small clearing. Lucas got out of the car, confused. Tall trees grew all around them. Small plants grew under his feet. It was very hot, even in the shade. What is this? Lucas asked. It's our campsite, Mr. Torres said. No TV, no air conditioning, just peace and quiet. Isn't that great? Lucas didn't know what to say. It didn't sound great at all. Whew. All right, here we go. Let's go to those questions. Back to question 1. The passage begins at the campsite, in the car, at Lucas's house, or D, none of the above. Well, when a question is asking about like a certain portion of the text, I just go back to that portion and reread. So I'm going to go back to the passage, and that one was asking about the beginning. So I'm going to just look at the first paragraph and see if I can find my answer there. So it says, Lucas stared at the TV screen. He was playing his favorite video game. He steered a race car with his controls. The car zoomed along a mountain road. It was very hot outside, but the air conditioner in Lucas's room kept it nice and cool. Well, Lucas's room would be in Lucas's house, So there is my text evidence for my first question. So I'm going to go back to question 1, and I'm going to say at Lucas's house. All right, number 2, the passage ends. So I'm going to go back to the passage, and I'm going to go to the last paragraph where the ending would be and see if the answer is there. All right, here we go. End of the passage. We're going to zoom in again. A lot easier for me to read. Here we go. Lucas didn't know what to say. It didn't sound great at all. Well, the very last paragraph didn't really give me any clue, so I'm going to go to the next paragraph and see if that shares with me where they're at. It's our campsite, Mr. Torres said. No TV, no air conditioning, just peace and quiet. Isn't that great? Oh, there it is. They're at their campsite. Go back to number 2. And it says, in the car, in a mythical land, in the woods, in a tent. Ooh, campsite. Now, campsite's not an option. Maybe I need to go back and reread for more text evidence. All right, I'm going to go back. Here we go. Maybe I'll start here. Here we are, son, he said. Lucas looked out of the car. They were in the middle of the woods. Oh, look, that matches one of my answer choices. Okay, here we go. C, in the woods. Number 3, Mr. Torres seems to be a good father, love adventure, enjoy nature, or D, all of the above. Well, Mr. Torres, that's his dad. We need to go to places where he is described. So I kind of am going to skim through the text and look for where his dad is talking. It says, Lucas, come on, it's time to leave, his dad called out. Lucas responds, this is going to be a great trip. That lets me know that Mr. Torres is excited about what they're doing. Said Mr. Torres, just you, me, and stars. Okay. Kind of just keep skimming. Then he turned on his portable game. That's all about Lucas. That's not going to help me with Mr. Torres. And then right here is where Mr. Torres talks again. So let's see. Here we are, son, he said. Lucas looked out of the car. They were in the middle of the woods. The car was parked in a small clearing. Lucas got out of the car, confused. Tall trees grew all around them. Small plants grew under his feet. It was very hot, even in the shade. What is this? Lucas asked. It's our campsite, Mr. Torres said. No TV, no air conditioning, just peace and quiet. Isn't that great? So I reread the parts where Mr. Torres spoke. And I would think that he enjoys nature because they're camping and camping takes place out in nature. I also think that if you enjoy nature and you like camping, I would think that you are a little bit adventurous. In my opinion, I think that Mr. Torres is a good father because he's wanting to go and do something with Lucas, just the two of them. So because I think A, B, and C are all good answer choices, and there's text evidence for it, my correct answer is actually D, all of the above. All right, number 4. This passage is science fiction, realistic fiction, historical fiction, or D, a tall tale? Well, it's not historical fiction because it doesn't have anything from history in it. It's not a tall tale. There's not a character who's larger than life with a super strength or an animal that talks. Not a tall tale. It's not really a science fiction either. So I'd say it's B, realistic fiction, because dads and sons, that's real. Camping is real. Video games are real. Pizza pockets are real. But this story overall is made up. So it's B, realistic fiction. And number 5, the author writes, Lucas got out of the car, confused. Describe the setting that made Lucas confused. Oh, I remember. That was when there was the tall trees, the grass under their feet. So I'm going to go back and reread that section to myself one more time to make sure that I get that setting correct so that I can type it out myself. And it says, "Here we are, son," he said. Lucas looked out of the car. They were in the middle of the woods. The car was parked in a small clearing. Lucas got out of the car, confused. Tall trees grew all around them. Small plants grew under his feet. It was very hot, even in the shade. So when Lucas was confused, he was confused by the setting. And the setting was the woods. I would talk about the tall trees, the grass, their car being parked in a clearing. And what a clearing means is a spot where there's not as many trees. So kind of like an open area out in the forest, and then you would have trees all around you. So that's what you should put there, is you should describe that when he got out of the car, they were in the woods, and describe the pieces of the woods that he saw, the tall trees and the plants growing underneath his feet, and that they were in a clearing. All right, guys. So that was the answers to the passage, The Camping Trip.